Generosity and parsimony. The human mind perceives generosity as a baseline expectation rather than a virtue. Machiavelli argues that a ruler who seeks a reputation for being liberal must consume his resources entirely. He exhausts his treasury. He eventually taxes his subjects to maintain his lifestyle. This creates resentment. The populace forgets the gifts but remembers the taxes. This is a cognitive glitch in gratitude. Evolution favored those who tracked debts over those who rewarded altruism. A ruler who is stingy protects his wealth. He prepares for future wars without burdening the people. He is seen as generous by the majority because he does not take from them. Parsimony is a functional necessity for long-term stability. The brain labels a miser as a predator until it realizes he is the only one not raiding the pantry. The desire to be liked is a biological weakness. It forces a leader into a cycle of escalating bribes. Every gift reduces the power to give the next. The ruler becomes poor. He becomes contemptible. Contempt is the precursor to rebellion. Statistics in modern management show that leaders who prioritize popularity over fiscal discipline suffer from rapid loss of authority. Machiavelli observes that true generosity is invisible. It is the absence of confiscation. People value their property more than their benefactor's soul. History is littered with kind kings who were executed by the very people they bankrupted themselves to please. You must choose between being a beloved pauper or a respected hoarder. The crowd will cheer for your gold while you have it. They will spit on your corpse once you have spent it for them. You are either a source of envy or a victim of their disappointment. Fear over love. Human affection is a fickle chemical state. It is governed by the dopamine of self-interest. Machiavelli posits that men love at their own convenience. They fear at the convenience of the ruler. Love is a bond of obligation. It is broken whenever personal gain outweighs the relationship. Fear is maintained by the dread of punishment. This dread never fails. Evolution hardwired the amygdala to prioritize survival over loyalty. A ruler must avoid being hated, but being loved is a secondary luxury. In conflict, the friend who loves you will betray you for safety. The subject who fears you will obey you even in terror. Consistency in punishment creates a predictable environment. The brain thrives on predictability. Mercy is often perceived as a sign of neurological decay or systemic weakness. The illusion of the social contract rests on the threat of force. Without the capacity for clinical cruelty, order collapses into tribal chaos. Machiavelli suggests that a leader should perform necessary cruelties quickly. He must perform them all at once. This prevents the daily erosion of morale. Constant small injuries breed deep resentment. One massive strike creates a lasting memory of power. Modern psychology confirms that negative reinforcement is a more stable motivator than variable positive reinforcement. Human beings are inherently ungrateful and deceptive. They are eager for gain and fearful of danger. If you rely on their love, you rely on their mood. If you rely on their fear, you rely on your own strength. It is a biological certainty that a man will forgive the murder of his father before he forgives the loss of his inheritance. Loyalty is merely the interval between two acts of betrayal, the lion and the fox. Integrity is a luxury of the powerless. A ruler must possess the qualities of both the lion and the fox. The lion cannot defend himself against snares. The fox cannot defend himself against wolves. Therefore, one must be a fox to recognize traps and a lion to frighten wolves. Machiavelli asserts that a prudent ruler cannot keep his word when doing so is to his disadvantage. The brain's moral center is easily bypassed by the survival instinct. Most people are dishonest by nature. They will not keep their faith with you. You are not obliged to keep faith with them. Social signaling requires the appearance of virtue. The reality of power requires the mastery of deception. You must be a great pretender and dissembler. The cognitive dissonance of the masses allows them to believe your lies. People are so simple and so focused on their immediate needs. The deceiver will always find someone who will let himself be deceived. This is the exploitation of the human tendency toward cognitive ease. We prefer a comfortable lie over a complex truth. Machiavelli highlights that having virtuous qualities is useful. Actually practicing them is harmful. You must seem merciful, faithful, humane, religious, and upright. You must be prepared to act in opposition to these virtues when necessity dictates. This is not psychopathy. It is high-level behavioral adaptation. The prince does not deviate from what is good if he can avoid it. He enters into evil if he must. Success justifies the means in the eyes of the vulgar. The world is composed entirely of the vulgar. There is no reward for a martyr who loses his kingdom to an honest enemy. The only sin in politics is failure. Avoiding contempt. A ruler is safe from internal conspiracies as long as he is not hated or despised. Hatred is earned by interfering with the property and the families of the subjects. Contempt is earned by being perceived as changeable, frivolous, effeminate, pusillanimous, or irresolute. These traits signal a lack of executive function. A leader must show grandeur, courage, and gravity in his actions. This creates a psychological barrier against challengers. When the populace respects the ruler's strength, they do not plot. Conspiracy requires the hope of success. A formidable reputation destroys that hope before it can manifest as action. The lizard brain calculates the risk of rebellion against the perceived stability of the current alpha. If the alpha appears weak, the hierarchy will be contested. If the alpha appears ruthless and stable, the hierarchy remains intact. The internal security of a state depends on the perception of the ruler's character. If the people are satisfied, the conspirator has no allies. If the people are indignant, the conspirator finds a recruitment pool in every corner of the state. Machiavelli observes that an external threat often stabilizes internal politics. However, the most dangerous threat is always the domestic one. This is the result of prolonged exposure to perceived injustice or weakness. Human beings can endure a great deal of hardship if they believe the hand guiding them is firm. They cannot endure a hand that trembles. Modern studies in leadership psychology show that followers will tolerate an abrasive leader but will revolt against an incompetent one. Strength is the only currency that does not deflate in a crisis. You do not need to be a saint to rule. You only need to be an immovable object. The crowd will forgive your sins, but they will never forgive your hesitation. The quality of ministers. The first impression of a ruler's intelligence is based on the men he has around him. If they are capable and faithful, he is considered wise. He has known how to recognize their ability and keep them loyal. If they are otherwise, the ruler is judged poorly. The selection of subordinates is a mirror of the ruler's own cognitive capacity. Machiavelli identifies 3 types of intellects. The first understands things by itself. The second appreciates what others understand. The third understands neither by itself nor through others. The first is excellent, the second is good, and the third is useless. A leader must have the discernment to identify the second type if he lacks the first. He must monitor his ministers for signs of self-interest. This is the fundamental challenge of agency theory in modern organizational behavior. When you see a minister thinking more of himself than of you, he will never be a good servant. He will always seek his own profit. A ruler must bind his ministers to himself through a system of mutual dependence. He must honor them, enrich them, and share responsibilities with them. This ensures that the minister realizes he cannot stand without the ruler. This prevents the minister from desiring change. The psychological architecture of loyalty is built on the fear of loss. If the minister has too much to lose, his loyalty is guaranteed by his own greed. If he has nothing to lose, his betrayal is a statistical certainty. You must make your success their only path to survival. Intelligence in others is a tool to be harvested, not a threat to be feared. The smartest man in the room is often the one who hired everyone else to be smart for him. Loyalty is a business transaction. The rejection of flattery. Courts are full of flatterers because men are so self-complacent. They deceive themselves so easily. The only way to guard against adulation is to let men know that the truth does not offend you. However, when everyone can tell you the truth, you lose respect. A prudent prince should follow a third path. He should choose wise men for his counsel. He should give only them the liberty of speaking the truth to him. He should only ask them about the matters he specifies. He must listen to their opinions and then form his own conclusions. This creates a controlled feedback loop. It prevents the ruler from being led astray by the varying voices of the crowd. Constant flattery creates a distorted reality. The ego expands until it loses contact with the tactical environment. This is the road to ruin. A leader who changes his mind based on every new opinion is held in low esteem. He must be a constant inquirer, but a slow decider. Once a decision is made, he must be obstinate. If he is seen as flexible, he is seen as weak. Flattery is a social parasite. It feeds on the insecurities of the powerful. Machiavelli notes that good advice must arise from the prudence of the prince. The prudence of the prince does not arise from good advice. If the ruler is not wise himself, he cannot be well advised. He will be unable to reconcile the conflicting interests of his counselors. This is the paradox of the echo chamber. We surround ourselves with voices that mirror our desires, then wonder why we are blind to our failures. The truth is a surgical instrument. In the hands of a friend, it heals. In the hands of a flatterer, it is a hidden blade. Fortune and virtue. Many believe that the world is governed by fortune and God. They think human prudence cannot change the course of events. Machiavelli disagrees. He compares fortune to a violent river. When it rises, it sweeps away trees and buildings. Everyone flees before it. No one can resist it. But when the weather is calm, men can build dams and dikes. When the river rises again, it will be channeled, or its force will be less damaging. Fortune demonstrates her power where no virtue has been prepared to resist her. Half of our actions are governed by chance. The other half is governed by our own will. This is the struggle between internal and external loci of control. A ruler must prepare for the disaster during the time of plenty. He must build the infrastructure of resilience before the crisis arrives. Success comes to those who adapt their behavior to the spirit of the times. A man who acts with caution might succeed when the times require caution. He will fail when the times require impetuosity. The human mind is rigid. It is difficult to change a nature that has always been successful in one way. Machiavelli concludes that it is better to be adventurous than cautious. Fortune is a woman. If you wish to keep her under, it is necessary to beat her and ill-use her. She allows herself to be mastered by the adventurous rather than those who act coldly. She is a friend to the young because they are less cautious and more audacious. This personification reveals a cynical truth about risk-taking. The universe does not reward the patient. It rewards the aggressive who act before the variables shift. You do not control the wind, but you must be the one holding the whip. Adaptability or ruin. The final lesson of power is the necessity of psychological fluidity. Most leaders fail because they cannot deviate from the methods that brought them initial success. Their brains become hardwired to a specific set of responses. They become predictable. Predictability is a death sentence in a competitive environment. Machiavelli observes that if a ruler could change his nature with the times and circumstances, his fortune would never change. But men are generally slow to adapt. They are slaves to their temperaments. A cautious man cannot become bold when the moment demands it. A bold man cannot become restrained when the situation requires subtlety. This rigidity is the primary cause of the fall of empires and the ruin of great houses. Evolution favors the adaptable, but the individual human ego prefers the comfort of its own established habits. The environment is constantly shifting. The strategies of yesterday are the traps of tomorrow. To survive, you must treat your own personality as a tool rather than an identity. You must be able to simulate any emotion and adopt any posture. This requires a detachment from the self that few possess. Most people are victims of their own consistency. They believe that being true to oneself is a virtue. In the cold mechanics of power, it is a fatal flaw. You must be a shapeshifter. You must be able to move from cruelty to kindness and from honesty to deceit without hesitation. The successful prince is one whose mind is always ready to turn as the winds of fortune and the variation of things command him. He does not seek to be a good man. He seeks to be the man who remains standing. Integrity is the cage. Flexibility is the key. You are nothing but the sum of your adaptations.